What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night, time to talk some football. You know I'm going to be wearing this, right? Shout out to my boy Saul Rock Cardenas and the End Zone helmet painting. Again, if you guys are looking for good quality duplicate merchandise, he's the guy you're going to want to go see. So let me go ahead and take this thing off. Brian, why don't you do your thing while I try and get my big fat head out of here?
What is up, everybody? I am BD. Today, I'm going to be coming at you from the Payless Studios.
Nice. Did you say Payless Studios?
I did.
Man, us poor folk definitely know all about that. And the Pro Wings,
Oh
man,
yeah,
some of the worst shoes on earth.
man.
So,
They have
I
some
am
great like non-slip shoes. When I just working in our industry, doing inspections in a lot of facilities, a lot of kitchens and stuff. They were great to wear, walking around just non-slip. Fantastic, and they were like 30-40 bucks. So
they had some really good, like, if you just needed some good cheap work shoes, that definitely was kind of the route to go. However, if you were looking for any kind of, you know, decent shoe, that was not where you wanted to wind up being.
no, not at all.
So, anyways, we have got a lot to talk about. So
Where are you coming
I
from?
am
You didn't even introduce
oh,
yourself or say where you're coming from. You're too
you're
busy
right. You know,
taking the helmet off your stupid fat head.
yeah. Well, it cut the blood flow off to my head, so I kind of forgot where I was for a second. Um, you know me, Loudmouth of the South, SAJ, coming to you live from Shoney's Studios, one of arguably the grossest places you could have ever eaten.
It's fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about. They still have Shoney's around, just not
N-
here anymore.
Not here in San Antonio.
Nope.
So, you know what? I've got a great one for next week. I'm gonna save it for next week.
Just make sure you write it down
So
so you don't forget. You always do that. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do this one, and then the next week is like, no, I don't remember what it was.
it's probably because of the helmet. It's too tight
Probably
and it cuts
too tight.
off
What is
blood
up,
flow to my head.
XFL Mike D?
Yes. Um, so while I'm kind of doing our thing here, there's a lot that we want to cover tonight. And hopefully we've got enough time to cover everything because there is just a bunch. Uh First and foremost, um well, we'll bring that up in a little bit because it's going to tie into one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight. But Brian, I really think we need to talk about what happened with the Cowboys, man.
Do
What
we have to? What?
I
I
mean,
mean,
we do in the
I'm
sense
tired of
that
it at this point. It's the same thing every freaking week. You know, we we play like crap. We get blown out, and Dak plays stupid and is an idiot, and Mike McCarthy doesn't know how to coach and doesn't know how to freaking change up the game plan. And they get blown out, and then the defense on the opposing team, they kind of go in their little prevent mode, back off a little bit, and the Cowboys try and make a run, and oh my gosh, they might actually get this game, and then they do something stupid and lose the game. I mean, this is four losses this year already, and the same pattern has happened in, I think, all four of those losses. So I think
true.
no, I'm sorry, not the Lions. The Lions was the only one that it was like an absolute beatdown. Never had a chance. But even the Saints game, there was a time there, third quarter, that you thought the Cowboys might actually come back, but nope, didn't happen.
That is true. I know we've talked about it. We've especially talked about it with Mike G in some of our chats that we've had, just being guys discussing football. Um, at this point, like, when is it going to be enough? When is Jerry Jones going to say, I'm done with the Mike McCarthy experiment? It's not working. Next man up. When can we expect some kind of movement on this?
I am surprised it hasn't happened already. Losing to the 49ers, who everybody who watched the game, the history of the Cowboys and the 49ers, like going back to the 80s and just, the rivalry. This is outside of teams in our division. This is the team you hate losing to. And so they have pretty much embarrassed us for the last 4 years. I don't think we've won a game against them, playoffs or regular season. And so Jerry has to hate it. And so it's just I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. You could see his face in the press box during the game. I'm surprised he didn't walk down on the sideline and take McCarthy's freaking uh, Waffle House menu out of his hands and slap him with it.
You're not wrong, but um, what I guess the question I'm trying to work into the form of a question is how much of this is actually McCarthy's fault and how much of it is the talent or lack thereof that he has on the field?
Oh, I think a huge part of it is the talent on the field, and I've made fun of this statement many times, and I'm going to continue to for the rest of the remainder of the year. But this is Jerry going all in, all in. You know, we have garbage running back. You know, we have two really good running backs. If this was 5 years ago, we have an offensive line that cannot block. Um, you've got CeeDee Lamb, who is a fantastic receiver, but outside of that, Cooks is hurt, but you know what? He's an older player, so you shouldn't have to rely on him. You really need a second, a third guy. You've got Turpin, who is been in that put in that role because he's the fast receiver. But you saw on the last drive, Dak actually threw a beautiful pass to him in his arms, and he just dropped it. What a nice little 20-25 yard gain, trying to take the lead at the end of the game. Yeah, he's a great kick returner, but he's not, you know, he shouldn't be a reliable receiver. He's the one. He's kind of the fourth, the fifth guy. You throw him in on some gimmick plays or just kind of when you have a 4 or 5 wide receiver set, that's where you put him in. He shouldn't be your 2 or your 3. Um, and this team, the way it's put together, is 95% Jerry's doing. So, you can't blame McCarthy for the talent that he has, but you can absolutely put getting the best out of the talent on him. And he's not doing that. And I'm going to use an example. I don't know if you heard last week comments that Troy Aikman made about the wide receivers. He said that the wide receivers are running lazy routes. If they know that they're not going to get the ball, then there's not urgency off the line. It's lazy route running. Well, what McCarthy's reaction to that was, well, what Aikman says holds no weight with me. You're
Really?
talking cowboy legend Troy Aikman, Ring of Honor, Big Three, the triplets holds no weight. That tells me you're not a coach that listens. You know what CeeDee Lamb's response to that statement was? That Troy Aikman's statement was? You know
What's
what?
that?
That's something that we need to practice. If he's recognizing it, then we need to be better at it. CeeDee Lamb was actually being a leader and saying, you know what, if somebody's recognizing these, making criticisms, recognizing our faults, then it is our responsibility to do better and, run routes better, get off the ball, get off the line, quicker. So it's not, obvious who the pass is going to. McCarthy didn't do that. He just completely dismissed the comments. So right there, that tells me, that's not a leader. That's just, oh, whatever, so.
Yeah. Well, and that, begs the argument, is it is it because you can't say Mike doesn't have football knowledge. I mean, he won a Super Bowl. Now, granted, he won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, but he still won a Super Bowl, right? And a lot of that is coaching. But is it at this point, is he just like frustrated and realizing that maybe his time is coming to an end, and so he just doesn't really care, doesn't have a filter, or is he just that inept of a coach that he's like, you know what, you're going to question what I'm doing, fine, I'm just going to say something stupid,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
I don't know. I mean, it's just it's frustrating. You see it. Uh, well, like Jeremy said here, Rogers, he pretty much runs his offense. He was a lot like Peyton Manning, So and
Well,
he's but McCarthy he can put some schemes in, but a lot of the stuff was Rogers seeing at the line, seeing the defense,
mhm,
figuring out and maybe checking to a different play or knowing where the defense was going to be. you know,
yeah,
Dak does not
that
have
part,
that skill. He
yeah,
he's been better. He's improved throughout the years, but he's still not there. And you saw that with just bad passes and passes to defenders that probably should have been picked off, even the ones that weren't. I mean, hell, he still threw 2 interceptions. He's got 8 interceptions this year. Last year he had 9 the entire season. That's ridiculous. But the thing that frustrates me most about McCarthy is he doesn't change. He doesn't adapt his game plan as the game goes on. It's I don't understand, and it seems like I think I said this a week or two ago. It seems like it's the one consistent thing of Cowboys coaches is they're just stubborn with their game plan. They don't make adjustments. I didn't really say it.
well,
Uh,
yeah, my comment goes along with what Jeremy was saying and what
no,
you're
but
saying about
you
stubborn
say the
and game
talent's
plans.
there. I
Garrett,
don't know. Oh, Garrett, yeah, the
yeah,
clapper. I don't know if
yep.
the talent's there. I mean,
I'm
is Dak? Maybe he's a top 5 quarterback on a good day in the regular season. In the
mhm.
playoffs, he's mid. He's 10 to 15 quarterback just because he just I don't know. I don't know if it's just the gravity of the game is too big for him. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb, the absolute best, one of the best receivers in the league, no doubt about it. Who do they have
Mhm.
after that? Running backs. Who do they have?
Right.
Elliott, Cook. Once again, I said really good 5 years ago. You have Uncle Rico and Deuce Vaughn. So that's the running back room. There's not a whole lot of talent there. The line, ooh, don't the line is not it's hurting. They're giving a lot of
Mhm.
you know they're giving a lot up. Now they are also playing Nick Bosa this week, and damn near nobody can stop Nick Bosa. But it's the other guys who are just letting everybody through like a turnstile, and it's just now where the talent should be is I don't want to say Jerry's cheap because he'll pay money to fire a coach. He did with Wade and he did when he fired Garrett. So they fired both of them midway through the season. Actually, you know what?
I
Garrett might have. I don't remember. Garrett might have been from one year to the next. I don't remember if he fired midseason or
well,
not.
and I
But
just want to know who this coach Belichick is. It's Belichick, but you know what do you expect from coach?
exactly.
Look,
Uh,
here's
but
the
you
deal.
know what?
Here's the deal. I agree with Jeremy's comment that we're talking about Mike McCarthy, who's a Super Bowl winning coach, and in a couple of years after that win, just faded into obscurity, kind of, and then all of a sudden just resurfaces in arguably one of the most popular teams in America. Um, I think it was a situation where Jerry thought that bringing him in would be good overall because he's got Super Bowl experience. He knows how to run a team, but he also knows how to take orders. And I think he's finding out that regardless of what the talent pool may be or may not be in Dallas, um, you need somebody with a little bit more uh, knowledge about football than just being able to take orders from the coach. Mike McCarthy had the advantage of having an incredible Hall of Fame quarterback at his disposal. He had a great OC, he had a great DC, he had a wonderful team that was able to work together as a unit. right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're not having in Dallas right now is that cohesiveness.
Oh,
You've got
absolutely.
yeah, you've got receivers
He
arguing with
had a great
quarterback.
DC. He had a great DC, but now that DC is the head coach in Washington, and now
Yeah,
we got Zimmer, and I don't know what the hell this defense is doing. I mean, it's
yeah,
just, and granted, yeah, Parsons has been hurt, Tank has been hurt. There's been a lot of injuries, but you know what? Uh, Diggs was out all last year and still had a great secondary. You know, Bland's
yep.
out, but he should be coming back. But you know what? Just still, the schemes they're not working right now. Now, Grant, look, Cowboys are 3-4. There's still 10 more games left in the season. They can absolutely, you know, turn it around and get better. But right now, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of turning things around, I have a feeling that things are turning around and not in a good way for our friends over in Houston. Um, Trying to look at the details here. They played the Colts, who are 4-4. Not a though they were 4-3 going into this game. Not a horrible team per se, but Houston definitely did not show up like they normally do. Um, with I'm trying to bring up the actual stats here. Here we go. Here we go. Stroud went 25 of 37, 285 yards, one touchdown. Now that's kind of weird for Stroud, right? I know Mixon went off for 102 yards, which is normal for him.
Mixon had a
Um,
good game.
but we've also got a big problem now in Houston that Stephon Diggs put up 5 receptions, 81 yards, right? Tank Dell got one touchdown. Let's see who else got. Mixon got one touchdown. Um, Diggs also tried to run the ball and lost 4 yards, and then Stroud tried to run the ball for one time and lost 10, which is crazy. Um, but I'm not seeing the normal forward progress that we've been seeing from Houston at the beginning of the season. It seems like production is tapering off, and now with Stephon Diggs being hurt, um, now what are they going to do? Like,
Yeah, I
who's their
mean,
number one?
Diggs is out for the season now with a knee injury, which again we talked about it last week. You know, how many freaking receivers have now been injured with a knee or with something like that out for the season? This is crazy. But you know, I mean, the Texans are 6-2. They're second place in the AFC. They didn't have Diggs last year, so you know, I think they are well coached. They've got
Mhm.
good enough talent outside of Diggs that you know, and they don't play in a good division. You know, the Colts are not a good team. The Jaguars suck, and the Titans are absolutely terrible. So you know the Texans just you know if they go 500 the rest of the season, they're gonna win their division easily. So
Potentially, however, I think it's important that we talk about what you just
hell,
said
The Colts just
about the
benched
Jags.
freaking Richardson, you know? So
Yeah, and I think ultimately, actually, Coach Tom and I were talking about this at lunch today. Um, I'm kind of thinking that's a mistake, right? You got to give the guy an opportunity to make his mistakes and stumble and fall and get back up.
I mean,
And
this is what
especially,
his third year now.
well,
So
that's true. That's true. So I
I
mean,
mean,
I guess I could,
he's
I
not a
could,
rookie. So and
I
you
could,
know,
I could see along those lines. But, however,
I think it real. I think the kind of he's played terrible this year. I think he's got the
he
the
has.
lowest passing percentage, completion percentage.
Mhm.
I think at one point he was what like one of 12 or something like that this past week. Uh, but that one play where he was just like he was tired and took himself out of the game. I think that
That
was kind
was
of like
ridiculous.
that's crazy. You know.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I've never seen a quarterback just give up like that, which is
Yeah.
odd. And that's honestly probably why the coaching staff said, "Okay, you're tired. Well, sit on the bench for a while
Yeah.
and enjoy second string so you can rest up."
And you know
Um,
what? Hey, learn
but
something. You know,
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how. And this is how you know whether someone's going to be a true professional. You know, someone who can be successful. How does he react to this? Is he going to go? Is he going to go? And is he going to pout? And is he going to not be involved? Or is he going to actually be a part of the team, a part of the meetings, learn what's with the team, and use this as a learning opportunity? You know,
right.
this is where you figure out whether this guy is going to be a true professional and potential leader of a football team in this league.
Yeah. Um, One thing though I do have to disagree with you on is that you're saying that the Jags are terrible. And while the Jags started out terribly, I think they've been getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And I think the proof is in the pudding from this last week's game against Green Bay. Green Bay is not a slouch of a team. Now, they had some struggles dealing with Lawrence of Arabia there. And what's up, Rig? We actually just got done talking about your precious man. And my condolences for your loss on Diggs. And BD seems to think that you guys will be fine though, and that you'll carry your division because of who's in your division. I'm taking the counterpoint on that because I think that while the Jags may not necessarily be a threat overall, I think they're going to start turning things around and they're going to be a little bit more for you guys to deal with.
You
Potentially,
know, but
know,
the Jags,
as a wild.
all their games that they're close, but they make stupid mistakes in the end to lose these games, and it's that's poor coaching. Um, and so I think the Jags are a poorly coached team. I think they have talent, but I don't think they have a good coaching staff to put that talent together. You know,
And
uh,
that could be the case, but you can't argue the fact that Lawrence went 21 to 32, 308 yards. That's not the sign of a bad quarterback, right?
oh, I
That's a
never said he
sign
was a
of
bad quarterback.
well, I'm saying okay, let me clarify. I'm not saying that you said he's a bad quarterback. But them being a junk team, they've got some talent there. It most likely is a coaching issue, as you were just saying.
Yeah,
But if Lawrence is learning to become the leader, kind of like a Rodgers on the field, and just taking control of the team, he can still make them a threat later on, right? The running back, Tank Bigsby, carried 18 times, 78 yards. That's an average of 4.3. That's not bad. Um, and then I mean, our defense was arguably Green Bay's defense going into this game was arguably, one of the top 10 defenses in the league. And we had our hands full with this team, and that's not to say that, maybe Green Bay's defense took it a little bit lightly based on some of the games that, Lawrence has played. But I know they didn't show up and just lay down because
yeah,
that's not what a professional football player does. I think they got in the game. They played a very dead even first quarter. Nobody scored. Uh, Second quarter, we managed to sneak in a touchdown, and then I think they got a field goal. And then we snuck in a field goal and they got a touchdown. And then we snuck in one more before the end of the or you're going into the half. And then third quarter, tied up dead even, 7 each. And then fourth quarter, 10 points each. And we had to come from behind to get that,
yeah.
right? Uh, and it was Mike, we're not talking about Texas State, junky team. We'll get to college in a little bit whenever it doesn't matter. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's good updates. I actually have the feed going right now, trying
Speaking
to
of
keep up
teams
with it.
that suck,
Yeah, exactly. Um, so again, Green Bay having their hands full with the Jaguars, knowing full well that this is not necessarily a slouch team. Is it a great Green Bay team? No. No. I mean, they should not have struggled with the Jags the way they did. But I
yeah.
also have to give a little bit of credit to the Jags because I think they're stepping up and starting to get better and will
Yeah, I
continue to do so.
No, I think they're doing what they've been doing all season long. And you know what? Green Bay. I think you said it, Green Bay's not a great team. They're a middle of the pack team. They may sneak into the playoffs, but they're kind of they're mid. Just and the Jaguars aren't that good. They're
I wouldn't.
probably you know I mean they might fight for second in the division with the Colts, but is that a division
Yeah,
you really want to
I wouldn't say Green Bay is mid. I would say they're probably top third, the bottom of the top third, but top third.
Okay, so
Um,
you're at 33%. I'm at 50%. We're talking
right.
a difference of two teams here.
That's
All
where
right.
I think the Jags are in that middle of the pack part, right?
No,
Um,
I think Jags are bottom 2/3.
mm, okay. That goes along with what I just said, but that's fine. We just like contradicting each other here, and that's the fun part about it. You know what else is pretty contradictory but kind of enjoyable was, no offense to the rest of my NFC North brethren, but seeing Vikings and the Bears lose this weekend was a wonderful thing for me.
Yeah.
Okay, but
And you know
that
what? I
brings up
mean,
a
there
question.
controversies in both games. You know, I think we start with the Thursday night, the Vikings
Let's
game.
go, baby. Yeah,
Um,
let's talk about that. However, um, I want to make sure that we tie these two together because I've got a question for you.
yeah,
Okay, so go ahead.
yeah. So I mean,
Minnesota
I
Thursday night game.
everybody's heard about it, but the Vikings got the ball with just under 2 minutes left. They had to go 97 yards, but you know what? They got this guy named Jefferson who's a fantastic receiver who's already caught a 197-yard pass this year. So
Mhm.
I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, there's no way that the Vikings were gonna, go down that far. They've done it several times already this year. They absolutely have the potential to do that. But, they got tackled in the end zone for a safety, and then upon further review by all the TV cameras and stuff, there was a nasty face mask on Sam Darnold. Just grabbed him by the side and was not
Mhm.
called. And so the excuse of the officials was we couldn't see it, and you know what? That may very well be true. I mean, you've got linemen block it and stuff like that. And it is possible there. I've seen plenty of times where, the players were in a position that was blocking the ref's view. And, you know, if you don't see that, then you can't call it. I mean, it sucks, but the way the rules are, which will maybe a little bit of foreshadowing for a couple minutes later, but you can't challenge penalties right now. So we'll see. We'll see
Right,
what happens. But right now, you can't challenge it, and it sucks. But hey, that's kind of part of the game sometimes.
right. So meanwhile, on this was what, Sunday? No, this was Monday night, right?
No, Sunday.
Um, the Chicago and Washington game.
Yeah, yeah, that was Sunday. That was the late game Sunday.
Okay,
Not
yeah,
not
Sunday
the
night.
Sunday night football, but the 3 o'clock
Yeah.
game.
So I watched this game and it was a slugfest back and forth. Defenses really kind of controlling everything that was happening on the field. And I was very surprised this game was as close as it was, considering how dominant Washington has kind of been in you guys' division and how Chicago has, been having some struggles, right? Um, Game comes down to the final, what, not even 2 minutes. They had less than a minute on the clock, right? And Washington has to go 76 yards. And at this point, Chicago's up. Um, all Washington has to do is get within field goal range, and then they can tie the game and go into overtime. But the Commanders decided that was not going to be good enough. Uh, you had an incomplete pass, an 11-yard pass, then a 13-yard pass. You've got 6 seconds left on the clock, and This is when the Hail Mary thing goes down. We've got to talk about, and I cannot remember the guy's name, the safety that was in the end
Tyreek
zone,
Stevenson.
Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah.
He's in the end zone taunting the Washington fans.
I tell you,
Not
man,
even,
dude, he looked like you at a UFL game. Just completely back turned to the play, was just like
yep,
this to the crowd. I mean,
just talking
you,
mad nonsense.
dude,
And what happened though?
just like you.
What happened though? He took himself out of the play because if he
He
would have
took,
been
and
paying attention,
he
he would
was
have.
the player that was supposed to be on Noah Brown. He was the
Mhm.
guy who was supposed to follow him and stay with him while Noah went to the back of the scrum to be able to get a tip pass. He was supposed to be the guy to block him, and
Yep.
he ended up being the one that like tipped the ball.
Yep.
So
And he was what, 15, 20 yards off. So when he realized what was going down, just like you and Riggs said, he runs over to try and make a play for it. It's basically a scramble, gets
yeah,
his fingers on it, and knocks it into the Washington receiver Noah Brown's hands. Right.
yeah.
So first of
And so
all, it tells
did you
you,
see you notice like at the end of the game, he was the Bears player that was just sitting on the field, just absolutely defeated, because he knew that he screwed up on that one.
yeah,
So
and as well he should. He
yeah.
cost his team a win. But so here's where I want to talk about this, right? There's a win that was based on controversy. Okay. The Minnesota game against the Rams, a win based on controversy. You've heard as of today, Chicago has issued a letter basically requesting that the NFL review and give them an opportunity to play that last down all over again because of all the holding calls and everything
Because
else
there
that
was
was
a
going
couple
on.
blatant holds or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
You know,
During the play. Now,
they're protesting the win. I
mhm,
it's not going to go anywhere. Um, the league's just going to say noted. We'll see you next week. You lost. You know.
okay.
So
Here's my question though. If the league is going to hear, even acknowledge that kind of behavior, couldn't Minnesota turn around and do the same thing?
oh,
Because it
absolutely.
was
It's
a
it's it's a
blatant call.
dangerous precedent. Minnesota could say, "Oh, you know what? Well, let us play the last minute and 40 seconds of the game starting at the 18-yard line." And they have every right to do that. Where do we stop? You know what? There was a really bad pass interference call in the first quarter, so I want to restart the game from there. What's the cutoff? It's ridiculous. And I understand why Chicago is doing it because they're throwing up their own Hail Mary in this game, but it's not going to go anywhere, and it's
And it should. Okay.
yeah,
In a situation like that, I understand that, you know, a call like that can cost the game. But in that situation, I mean, you have to understand that referees are still human. Um, Mistakes are going to be made, and like Mike said, and Rig is saying, this is not baseball. This is not basketball. This is football, and
yeah,
the calls are the calls, and you should not be leaving the game in the referee's hands. Ultimately,
right.
if your team is that good, you should not have to worry about it. Your team should be able to go out on the field and dominate and you have a decisive win. No questions asked. That isn't what happened here. So
You know,
obviously Chicago, at least part of Chicago, gave up and thought they already had the win. And that's
yeah,
what the penalty is. You lose the game.
yeah.
End of story.
You want to be mad about how that game ended. Well, don't go complain to the NFL, to the league, because there was a holding call on the play. You know what? Go to your secondary and say your dumbass your head should have been in the game the entire play. Minnesota. Hey, you want to, obviously they're not protesting the loss, but if we're using the same example, hey, you want to complain that you had a face mask on the 3-yard line when you had to go 97 yards for a touchdown and a 2-point conversion within a minute 40 seconds, you know what? Don't get it to that point. So, there everything leading up to the end of a game is a factor of who wins the game. It's not, well, this official screwed up on this one call, so everything else we did before to put us in a position where this call would have mattered, well, that's negligible. It's all the official's fault. So I've always hated blaming officiating. Yes, there's a lot of officiating that sucks, and we've called that out plenty of times, but you know what? You have to be better than whatever the officials might be.
Yeah. Um,
But
so
with that, and with, like I mentioned before, I fully support, and the NFL said might talk about in the offseason, implementing a UFL style penalty challenge system. And
like a super challenge.
yeah, like super challenge. And I
Yep.
fully support that. I've thought the league should do that. Since before the UFL XFL was a thing. And I know they tried it one year with the pass interference, and it was absolutely horrible. But they've got an example to look at to see that it works, and that is the UFL. See how it was applied in that league and how it would affect it. It didn't, it didn't ruin the league. It didn't mess it up. I've heard people say that, oh, well, challenging, penalties will ruin the game. No, it's just it's just of making sure that the officials get the calls correct.
Yep.
It's not like you're going to have unlimited challenges, so you're not going to throw
You
one
won't.
on every play. But yeah, I fully support them implementing some form of super challenge for a penalty or something like that.
Yep. And we've seen it works, but the nice thing about that is that it's only during the game. So if you miss a call, it doesn't matter, right? You can't go back and super challenge a game a call after the game is over, like 2 3 days later. Um, so around the league, we've got injuries kind of piling up, like we were talking about before. Obviously, Jordan Love injured his groin somehow.
I haven't
Um,
heard what's the update for him. Is he? I
he's
know I saw that he missed a serious injury, which is deja vu because that's what they said about him week 1 or whatever. But is
yeah,
he day to day, week
it,
to week, or is he like already going to play this week?
he's day to day for right now. Um, it thankfully wasn't that bad of an injury, but they're going to keep a very close eye on it because his biggest concern with that was that he was not going to be able to protect himself in the event of a pocket collapse. He wasn't going to be able to scramble. He wasn't really going to be able to do much of anything because he just couldn't put a whole lot of weight and pressure on it. He couldn't launch off of it for fear of making it worse. So they've got him down as day to day, which is great. It's not. It's great that it wasn't more severe of an injury, but we also have Malik Willis, so we have a backup plan, and actually a surprisingly good backup plan. I wouldn't be surprised if Willis does not stick around after next year because he has shown potential to maybe not be a great starter, but a pretty decent starter. Um, so anyways, we've got that going on. Jair Alexander, the guy who was jaw jacking with Diggs the week before, he actually left with a knee injury also, and we haven't heard any updates. But he's supposed to be getting an MRI on that, and I'm hoping that the news is good there as well. Um, Obviously, you've got the injury to Diggs in Houston. He's out for the rest of the season. I'm trying to see. There were a couple of other ones. Tim Settle had a calf injury as a defensive tackle. And then Jarrett Patterson, who's an offensive lineman, he had a concussion and is ruled out. So not super significant, but that Stephon Diggs one is a really big deal.
Yeah,
Um, and then thankfully, Dallas had no injuries to report other than people's feelings when, they lost to the 49ers. But again, I mean, I'm just looking at this list of just week 8 injuries alone. And I mean, they are just stacking up, dude. Um, The CJ Mosley, linebacker for the Jets, neck injury ruled out. Um, there's just there's a whole bunch. Oh, and by the way, I'm sure you guys saw it on the Texans Talking Football Facebook page, but Halloween's right around the corner, guys. 2 days. So if you're in need of a costume, just go to Spirit Halloween store and get the Aaron Rodgers costume. We posted about it on our page. Absolutely hilarious. I still love that one. And they're now what, 2-6?
Yep.
And
He's in a
Rodgers
dark
gets
place again, you know.
yeah.
So he's going to be
The
going
only thing
doing mushrooms in another darkness retreat probably.
yeah,
Him
the
and
only thing
Adams are going to go bond.
oh, I don't think Adams is going to be going with him. I think I think you guys are going to see all the things that we knew about as Packers fans about the relationship between Adams and Rodgers. I think it's all going to come out again now that they're together. And Rodgers is not having a great year, and Adams is now kind of stuck there in New York. And like, seriously, you traded me to this? So I think you're going to see some of that
I mean,
relationship
you know
tension
what? He
come
was
out.
one of the ones he asked for it, so you can't really say too much about it. Rodgers
He
wanted him. He
asked
wanted to
for
go.
he asked for a trade, not
That no,
specifically this
The
trade.
Jets were on his short list, so they were the one he was top on his short list. So
Uh,
you know what? I blame him just as much as Rodgers. So he ain't getting off of this one. He was, oh, I got traded. It wasn't my fault. Blah blah blah. Nope, you asked for it. So you made your
Fair
bed. You
enough.
can lie in it now.
I'll let you have that one. Okay. So let's talk some college football now.
Oh,
Because
let's.
you have got to be one of the happiest Aggies fans on the
Dude,
planet right now.
I am absolutely ecstatic, man. Oh my god, that was such an awesome game. Um, I'm still like, what the hell? My computer went out.
What the
Uh,
what the hell?
what the hell, Bobby? Man, obviously the first of the game, it had me worried. LSU was up 17-7 at halftime, but it didn't even feel that close. It felt like we were down 3 scores. And just, I mean, Wegman was off. He was making bad throws. Uh, just everything was just weird. The offense was running weird. LSU had a great game plan for defense. And then our defense had a whole lot of trouble stopping them. They had a lot of third downs, third and longs, that they were converting, and that's not what the Aggie team does. They get a team in third and long. More often than not, that team is punting the ball. So for LSU to be able to convert as well as they did in the first half was really, really concerning. But luckily, I say it was only a 10-point lead going into the half. And then A&M got the ball to start the third quarter, which, you know what? I'm gonna back up really quick. Once again, Mike McCarthy, stop taking the ball to start the game when you win the coin toss. Defer to the second half. It's the most obvious decision, yet you screw it up every single time. This is why you suck as a coach, because you make stupid decisions. Defer the ball till the second half. All right, back to the Aggies. So Aggies get the ball to start the second half, and they bring in Wegman, and he's still struggling, and you can tell he's getting frustrated out there. It's just not his day. And defense makes a great interception, gets the ball, and then as I think a lot of Aggies fans saw the game going, Marcel Reed came in, and not necessarily because he's I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's better than Wegman, but he's a different quarterback. He's able to run the read option. He's a lot more athletic, a lot faster than Wegman, and that's what was needed for this game. First play, freaking read option, read for a touchdown, fantastic, 12 yards or something like that. Another interception by the defense, another drive. The defense got it together. They started changing up the looks. They frustrated the hell out of Nussmeier, which I was absolutely loving. The crowd was fantastic. I don't know if we talked about it. I know I kind of made a comment about it on our page, but last year, Nussmeier was asked about playing in Kyle Field, and he was like, I mean, yeah, they're kind of loud, but they're not the worst place to play. They're not even close to Death Valley. And let me tell you, that crowd, I think he regretted saying that at the end of this game because they were putting that quote up every time they'd show him on the jumbotron, and so every time that quote would come up, that crowd would just go crazy. Uh, but yeah, I mean this game we outscored LSU 31-6 in the second half. Absolutely flustered Nussmeier. The defense didn't know what the hell to do. Their coach didn't know what the hell to do. It was glorious. It was fantastic. I loved every minute of it. So
Yeah. It was interesting to watch, the updates coming across the sports ticker and just seeing, how BD was kind of going crazy in the chat about it. Um, so
so I had
across the league,
a friend of mine. She's an LSU fan. We work together, and so uh, we're talking crap. Well, she wasn't watching the game. She was doing something with her daughter and stuff. But she was like, kind of following the updates, kind of like you. And it was like, oh, cool. Oh, we're up. Oh, nice. And so she'd send something, oh, look at, and then she started checking. She's like, oh, damn. Oh, no. Oh, God. And then she just absolutely went quiet in our chat.
yeah. So kind of around the horn, pretty much, no upsets here this week. Pretty much every ranked
No
team.
upsets, but, well, I mean, A&M LSU was an upset, but Texas only beat Vanderbilt by 3 points.
Yeah.
That
But
was a
you
close
also,
game.
yeah, you also notice that number one Texas is not number one Texas anymore.
Well, yeah,
And
well, of course
it's,
they're not number one Texas because they lost to Georgia.
mhm.
Yeah,
But
curb stomped by Georgia.
yeah, it's starting to catch up, right? Texas is not the team that everybody thought that they were going to be. And as they're starting to play more of these SEC teams and stuff like that, I think that, that it's really going to start showing itself. Um,
Yeah, but
speaking of,
they have an easy schedule, and so do the Aggies. I think. Well, I say easy as easy can be in the SEC. They're not. Neither one of us are playing any ranked teams until the last week of the season where we play each other. So if
yeah,
the way things are going, that game is going to be for a spot probably in the SEC championship. So
yeah. Speaking of teams that will not be in any kind of championship, UTSA drops another heartbreaker,
dude,
right?
what was that?
I, man, I wish I could tell you. I watched it. They were playing the 2-5 Tulsa Golden Hurricanes, and at this point they were 3-4, right? They took an early and commanding lead. They were up what 30.
They were up 35-7 at
They were up
halftime. And that's so
right,
I was watching it
28
kind of go
points.
across the ticker. And so I saw
Hmm.
35-7. I'm like, oh, cool. USA, they got a blowout. Good for them, man. They need this one. They've had a rough season. That's
Hmm.
awesome. And then I started seeing the ticker come across during the A&M
Yep.
game.
The third and fourth quarter, the only thing I can really tell you is that Tulsa made adjustments to their offense and UTSA did not make any adjustments at all. They kept playing the same game plan, which wound up holding them
So
to
you're saying Mike
7 points.
McCarthy is the UTSA coach as well?
I think he took over for a bit. I really
Yeah.
do. UTSA scored 7 points to Tulsa's 17 in the third quarter, and then in the fourth quarter, 3 points to Tulsa's 22.
God
22 points.
dang.
That's 19 unanswered points, basically. You can't win that way. Absolutely embarrassing. So they got curb stomped. Even though it was 1 point, it's that whole second half of the game where they just checked out. And I know they didn't put it on autopilot, but it sure feels like it. It sure looked like it. how do you not make an adjustment when you know that their defense is swarming all over you and you can't get those clear reads and you can't get your receivers to catch the damn ball? Make a change.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a rough. I mean, at this point, the season's done. It's going to be a rough final couple of games. It's just not. It's not going to be pretty, and that's really painful for a program that has come so far in such a short amount of time to see them fall flat like this.
I mean,
You know,
you've still got how many more games? You got four more games. You're 3-5. So I mean, you've got a chance to get three more wins to become bowl eligible. So like it's not a total loss for you guys, but
no, but
not yet at least.
I just don't see it happening. And here's what really bothers me: 546 total yards of offense versus Tulsa's 433, and we still lose the damn game. You
Yeah.
know, so it's just I don't know. I don't know what's going on with UTSA right now. It's just not pretty, man. Um, Meanwhile, just a little bit further north, it looks like Texas State is definitely, showing their little claws there. The score currently is 14-12 in the third quarter. And they've got about 8.5 minutes left to play in the third quarter and all the fourth quarter. So Mike G, looks like your team is hanging in there, whereas mine just, they rage quit the game. And it's just not good. Meanwhile, just a little over to the downtown side, it looks like the Cardinals had a really close game against Southeast Louisiana, but they wound up getting the win 34-31. So that puts them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins for the season and only 2 losses. They still have 4 more games to go, but they're playing Houston Christian, Lamar, Stephen F. Austin, and Texas A&M Commerce. So they should easily be able to get another 2 wins out of that.
Yeah.
And be eligible for something, maybe the Tupperware Bowl or the Tidy Bowl or something. But the UIW is definitely on a tear. They are 3-0 conference games, 6-2 overall. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. So definitely, cheering on our Incarnate Word brethren, and hopefully they represent San Antonio well in whatever championship game they get into, if they get in one.
Yeah.
um Meanwhile, over in some of our alternative football stuff, um really don't have much going on. The schedule for IFL should be coming out on October 31st, so nice
Yeah, I was
little
gonna say
trick or treat present.
drop it on Halloween.
Yeah. NAL should be revealing well, they just revealed their schedule for on October 14th. Um Trying to see because the NAL still has
What's up, Jesse?
uh
How's it going, bud?
oh, what's up, man? What's up, bro, man? Um I'm trying to see, they still had uh Corpus in the list, but if you look at the schedule, they're completely off. So I don't know how that's going to work out, if they can work something out with Corpus Christi Tritons. Um, so who knows? Maybe some big things might be in the works for Corpus. Probably not though. AF1, they just added Oregon to their roster, and not much else is going on there. However, uh, what we're a little bit more excited about is that we've got UFL news, and we've got some pretty big UFL news actually. And for those that have been watching, excellent. For those that have not been watching, um, they a certain somebody signed today,
That's
right? They
right.
worked out the contract differences, and that would be none other than and there's some controversy about the numbers. We were talking about it in the Horns Forward podcast chat, about him specifically wanting a number, and not sure if they had gotten that resolved or not. But it's Donald De La Haye, aka Destroying, has
Yep.
re-signed with the San Antonio Brahmas. And so he will be coming back and kicking again for the good guys.
So yeah,
Um,
I mean, I guess I didn't watch his podcast. DJ was telling us about it, but I guess on his podcast he was saying, yeah, he wanted to come back, but there was some stuff that he wanted to work out. One of it was like he wanted to wear his number 11, which of course is the number that Beckett wears.
mhm.
So I don't. Did Beckett retire? I thought I heard that last year. That I know Mac retired.
Yeah,
But I thought I
BD.
heard that Beckett was going to as well. I may be mistaken, but
If
so
if he did, I haven't seen anything to confirm that either way. I will say though that from the UFL communications department, De La Haye is marked down as number 19. That's
okay.
his player number. Okay. So I don't think he's going to get Beckett's number. And so
Well, we'll
again,
see. I mean, it's still actually today we're 150 days away from kickoff, so there's still plenty of
officially,
time for all that other crap to get worked out. So
yep. And then we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week. Because I mean it happened after our show, but there was a huge trade in which San Antonio traded Quentin Dormady
yep.
to Memphis for uh, uh
Jordan
Jordan
Ferguson,
Ferguson.
linebacker.
Mhm.
So
And
that
that
it's a good
I
pickup.
I
It just kind of shorten
mhm,
up our defense. Obviously we picked up Mon last week, so he's the presumptive starter. So I mean, at Q, I wish him the best. He stepped
mhm,
in really big for us last year when Garbage got hurt in the beginning of the season. Really kind of helped us, kind of continue that. Uh, and so I hope he succeeds a lot in Memphis. Nothing but the best for him. But I'm happy we're shoring up that defense and the linebacker position. So I
oh
think it
yeah.
was a good move. Memphis needed a quarterback, and Quentin's a pretty good one. So
Mhm. And then for anybody that happened to catch us last night on the Horns Forward podcast, we did have one of the coaches on, and there is definitely a buzz, a feeling of unfinished business in the locker room, in the coaching staff. Um, I think we're going to see a meaner, leaner, stronger, angrier team. I think
yeah,
we're going to see a lot more destructive, disruptive behavior on the field from our defense, and I think we're going to see a lot more precision from our quarterbacks and receivers, and just our backs in general. When it comes to the run game, I think our offensive line is going to be much stronger, and I'm getting something hot off the press from. XFL Mike G, if I could see this. He took a screenshot and it's like the tiniest print I've ever seen in my life.
it says
Uh,
that Beckett re-signed. So okay,
okay. Yeah, so
UFL has
Beckett is
announced the
coming
following
back.
transactions, and yeah, Beckett is on there at number 11. So okay, so
Yes.
I
And
was probably mistaken by that. So
and I think it's important to say, by the way, thank you, Mike G, for sending that over.
yep,
That's XFL Mike G of the Alternative Football Network. Great guy to follow. He's always on top of the news here. So shout out to him. But it looks like we're gonna have two hometown boys, not including Mond, uh, that are going to be on the squad this year because you've got
right.
Mayfield and Cephas that are going to be on the squad. And I've watched both those young men play, and they are beasts, man.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be nasty. So the rest of the league, take note. We said it here. We said it on the show last night. We're saying it here tonight. Take note because this is payback season. We're
yep.
coming, and we're coming with an attitude.
Last year was revenge season. This year's payback season.
Yep. So, Birmingham Trash, be ready. Here we come. And I said that with love, but yeah, you're gonna be getting shots from me.
No,
Okay.
like I said
So
last night, I mean all the disrespect. So
all the disrespect,
all the disrespect,
truckloads,
all disrespect meant.
truckloads of disrespect. Speaking of disrespect, why don't we talk about how disrespectful our fantasy football season has been?
Man,
So
how was your week?
I went 2 or 3.
So you went
So
two and one, two and one, 2 wins, 1 loss.
yeah. In
Okay,
my money league, which I say that tongue in cheek because it was like $20 buy-in, right? Because
yeah.
I'm cheap, man. That one I dominated. Oh no, I take it back. I'm sorry. That one I got smoked on. That's what it was. In the league I'm in with Coach Tom, I dominated again. We've got like a three-way tie for first going on right now.
Oh, damn, you got beat by
Um,
50 in our league.
yeah, yeah, it was nasty. It was
Man, dude,
absolutely nasty.
speaking of disrespect, okay. Well, I'm gonna talk about my opponent who, you know, uh
In that specific league.
in that specific league, yes. So I was up, or
Dirty.
I'm sorry, I was done playing. He was up by 4 points, 5, 6 points, something like that, or whatever. Um, all he had left going was was his
I
defense, the Giants' defense,
Yeah.
and this guy benches his defense so he doesn't lose points from him to lose the game. I mean, I got beat by a guy with no defense. That's freaking disrespectful right there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hell of a strategy, but like, come on, man.
Yeah. Rather than take the chance, you know,
Yeah.
bench your D and take your win, dude. That was just dirty, right?
Yeah, it was, dude, that was just disrespectful. Like he like walked onto walked onto my fantasy team and just like slapped my mama.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of which, Mike G seems to think that he's hot
Speaking of
stuff.
slapping mamas, freaking
Hmm.
Mike G beat me last week. You know what?
Yep.
And the only reason he did is because Dak and CD decided to go throw a couple touchdowns to each other.
Hmm.
So that was
Yep.
disrespectful as well.
Well, and he's bragging about beating a team that was auto drafted. Okay, so Mike, really, I mean, you want to flex. You beat a team that was thrown together and is hanging together by a thread, right? So anybody that does lose to me, it's an absolute miracle. Okay, so
I mean, you're four and
let's
four in
let's.
that league, so I mean,
I
I'm hell,
I've been
I'm 3 and
fortunate.
5. I'm 3 and 5, and I drafted. So of course,
I've
I was also drafting while I was at a high school game and watching the A&M game. So I was a little distracted. I think that's why I picked two tight ends within like 2 rounds of each other.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I
tight
need a
ends.
tight end. Then I went to look after. I was like, well, damn, I already picked up a tight end.
Tight ends, what are those? I didn't know that was a position on the field
Yeah,
because I sure didn't get any. And that has been like the biggest struggle is trying to find any kind of scraps in the, bottom of the barrel there. So,
yeah.
the worst part is when you're on the league where there are 10 teams, right? 32 teams in the league, and you can only find 5 possible defenses when yours are trash or on bye.
Yep.
That's bad, right? And that's on that one league that I'm in. It's and,
I'm
and
having to
I'm
do that in
I'm
a
winning,
couple of
but
leagues.
still.
I went 2 for 2 this week, and I had a solid strategy going into the season because I was gonna I was able to get them in, I think, in 3 leagues. I got them pretty low picks, sixth, seventh round or something like that. I was able to pick up Dak because I thought I was gonna get trying to earn a contract Dak. Instead, I got his contract Dak, and he is a way worse player than trying to earn a contract Dak. So
Yeah.
I'm making some changes on my teams as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. A bad year this year for fantasy football. Um, I mean,
I'm
we'll
not
we'll
doing
take what we can
terrible.
get.
I'm in the position for the playoffs in, I think, all of my leagues, but I'm not near the top in any of them. So
I haven't even looked that far ahead to see where I'm at because it scares me to think about it. But so yeah, we're struggling with with football in general. Um But what's not going to be struggling is viewership this weekend. We got some really great games coming up. Brian, who are your mighty Texas Aggies playing?
They are playing South Carolina, which they're not ranked, but they are a tough SEC team. We're playing in South Carolina, and anytime you go on the road, it's a tough place to play in the SEC. I think Aggies are like 2.5 point favorites, which is kind of surprising considering they're ranked 10th and playing an unranked team. But that just kind of goes to it's not easy to win week to week. They and I South Carolina would love to spoil the Aggie season. So you got to make sure they don't fall into a trap game here.
You're definitely not wrong there. UTSA is going to be taking on Memphis. That could go one of two ways, right? And it depends on which UTSA team shows up. Chances are it's probably going to be the one that we have been seeing lately that just isn't going to show up at all. Obviously, Texas State is playing right now, so they won't be playing this weekend. UIW is taking on Houston Christian. And of course, in the NFL, we've got the Texans are taking on the Jets. And I can't wait to see CJ Stroud mess up Aaron Rodgers. Cowboys are taking on the 5-3 Falcons,
Falcons, yeah.
which could potentially be a turnaround game. We'll have to see. And then my precious Green Bay Packers are taking on the 6-1 Lions, potentially for first place. And it's going to be in Lambeau, so at least we've
Yeah.
got home field
That's
advantage.
gonna be a tough game for y'all, but it's kind of it'll be a good one to see where you stand. Man, I saw a
This is
stat
the
the
true
other
test.
day. In the last 3 games, the Lions have thrown 19 incomplete passes and scored 27 touchdowns. They
That's
are talk
insane.
talk about just disrespecting someone's mama. Like that's what they're doing on the field. They are absolutely just destroying everybody they're playing. So
Yeah. So it's going to be some great football. Make sure that you keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully, we'll have some more stuff to talk about with UFL as we're getting closer and closer. Right, we're 150 days out. We're probably less than that with some of the, well, maybe a little bit longer than that with some of the arena ball. Um,
yeah,
but again, we've said this before. This is probably one of the best times to be alive that we're going to have year-round football to talk about, and we're always going to have stuff to be looking into and everything. So it's great. Um, that should pretty much be it for the show tonight. Definitely want to give shout outs to everybody, Bobby Otten and all of our friends over at Pro Arena Talk, XFL Mike G, and all of our friends over at the Alternative Football Network, Coach Tom for popping in, our brothers and sisters over at the Horns Forward podcast, our friends over at the Fuel Network, Rig Rocker. By the way, Rig, I need to get a hold of you and find out when you're going to be back in Houston because I got to come pick up that thing, and I don't want to wait until like Christmas time. But if I have to, I will. But I need to know when you're going to be in Houston so I can come and get the thing. So I'll see you and I'll talk to you in a bit about that. Um, our sponsors, W Energy Drink. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring us. We've talked about it before. I've been drinking it a lot more lately. Getting off the mainstream energy drinks and getting more on this energy supplement. And it's been doing pretty good. I wouldn't say it's quite a good replacement for like a pre-workout. So, if you're into lifting weights and stuff, W may not necessarily be what you're looking for, but if you're looking for a good alternative to all these, high calorie, high sugar, high, crazy additive, energy drinks that are out in the market, give W Energy a try. We've got a link on our Facebook page. You can, go and get yourself a little discount there. Give them a try, see what you guys think.
yep.
Um, and then also, I want to give a shout out to some of our friends at Virtual Country. They've got their virtual podcast. It's some friends of ours that are musicians, and some are retired firefighters and stuff. Just really good people. So if you're into kind of Texas country music, go look up Virtual Country. Check out their podcast. They're on episode. They're actually kind of going head to head with us on podcasts, but they're on episode 334. So I think they do one pretty much every day. So I don't think it's actually that bad. But they've been around for a while. They're definitely known on the music scene. Again, you love Texas country, give them a shout. That's going to be Greg and Nemo Menchaca. They also have their brother Julian that's in the band. It's almost like a family kind of thing. Their dad just doesn't play in the band. He just sits in the audience and laughs at them. It's funny. Anyways, who else do we want to give a thanks out or a shout out to our fans? Guys, thank you so much. Again, this is episode 85. BD and I have been doing this for about
Almost
coming up on 2 years now.
two years in
Okay.
February.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it has been an absolute joy to sit here and talk with you guys for an hour about football and interact with comments and different things like that. So truly, we could not do this without you. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. We're getting closer and closer to episode 100. Hopefully, we can do some big kind of blowout thing with it, depending on when it's going to land. So BD, we're going to have to do some calendar work and figure it out. And let's just make a huge event out of it. But again, thank you guys. Thank you, Jeremy, and the Brahmas Nation. Even though you're an Eagles fan, Jeremy, we still love you. Thank you, Jesse, and everybody, all the Brahmas.
He's an Aggie, so I'll give him that.
Okay.
I don't recognize the Eagle part of him. So
Yes. Well, and it sounds like Mike G is kind of turning to the dark side because he's posting a lot more about Aggies than what he was. So even though he was fighting Irish guy, maybe he's a little less Irish and a little more maroon. But anyways, guys, thank you so much.
A little less fighting Irish, a little more fighting Texas Aggie. There you go.
Yes. BD, you got anything to say before we check off?
Nope, that is it, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next time.
All right. Appreciate you. Horns forward. Go Pack Go. Birds up, baby. We'll see you next time.